Hello everyone, so today is the start of converting my Jet JS300, you see here in seafoam green, into a left-handed one. Now I know that they already make a left-handed model, but for me I don't like to play Stratocasters, the left-handed version, the mirror image. It just looks and feels weird to me. And I'm a big Hendrix fan, so what I like to do is take a right-handed Strat and change things to make it playable for a left-handed person. Okay? So if any of you would like to do this, then you can please follow along to this video. Essentially, this video is either going to be a few parts or it's going to be one big video with timestamps. So if there's any part of it that interests you the most, you can just click on the timestamp or jump to that part. Okay? Essentially, this project is going to be split into 4 areas. So we're going to deal with the neck. So everything to do with the neck, which is going to be the nut. So the nut needs to be changed to a left-handed nut. We're going to deal with the body. That's part 2, is the body. So things to do with the body, like the straps, the buttons for the straps. We need to put different strap buttons on. And then also with the bridge, we have to intonate and change the saddle positions. And then the third part is going to be the electronics. So you need to change the pickup heights essentially. Okay, because the thicker strings will be on the other side of the fretboard. So that means the pickup heights need to be altered. You normally have the pickups closer to the thinner strings compared to the thicker strings. But anyway, those are the 3 main areas which you can do to your guitar. And the 4th bit, because I mentioned 4 areas, are what I'm going to call the optional extras. So whilst I have the neck off and the body apart and no strings, I'm going to do some tweaks to the guitar to make some improvements that I want to make it personal to me. So they are going to be things like, starting with the neck, we're going to change the tuners to locking tuners. The pickups are going to be changed to different pickups. The 5-way selector switch is going to be changed. And we're also going to change the wiring to the selector switch. And then inside the guitar, we're going to put some copper shielding. Okay? And then after all that is done, we're essentially going to set the guitar up like it was a left-handed guitar. And then it'll work. Okay? So that's the plan. This might be done in one sitting, or it might take a few days. It depends. So you may see my clothes change colour, or it may go from light to dark. But essentially, this can be a quick job if you just want to change the nut and give it a setup and add the strap buttons. Or like me, you want to do lots of things. So this might take me a while. So this is what we're going to need to do this little project. Like I said, there's also optional extras in here. So we'll start from the bottom left. Here we've got the ancillaries that go onto the guitar, the hardware. We've got some saddles in here that I'm going to change on the other guitar. So we've got those, we've got springs. Here we've got the pickups. These aren't Seymour Duncan pickups. These are the pickups out of my 2017 Strat. Before I changed the pickups, I just kept the case. So these are vintage style Fender pickups. Okay. And then here we've got the lovely nut. So this is the Tusk nut. And it's for left-handed Strats. I got this off Amazon. Anything like this, I'll put the links in the description. Moving on, we've got the wiring diagram for the pickups. And most importantly, the new 5-way switch. So this is another optional extra I'm going to do. I'm going to fit a genuine Fender 5-way switch. And I'm going to wire it so we can use the bridge pickup with the tone control, the second tone control, along with the middle pickup. So we've got the nut, we've got some sandpaper to help sand down the nut so it fits. We've got various screwdrivers and pliers to help us pull out the nut, some glue to put the nut in to keep it in place. I'll see how tight of a fit it is. We might not need the glue. It means later on if I need to make any adjustments I can just pop the nut out. Stanley knife to help cut out the old glue. Helpful to have a mechanical screwdriver. What's those? Electric screwdriver I should say. Help get the neck off. We've got the drill. We need to drill into the body to put the new locking what's it called for your strap? The strap button. We have the new strap. Lovely new strap. And in here are somewhere the locking strap buttons. Here we go. There. One half goes onto the strap, the other half goes into the guitar. So we have that drill bit's a bit too big. What we do is we'll just make a little starting hole with that and then we'll screw it in for the rest by hand so we don't crack the wood. Soldering iron, most important for electrical items. If I break any wires, I've got some sheathing clippers there. And then we have various tapes to help us, masking tape, some copper tape for the shielding, and I've got some automotive industry tear-proof tape to tape things down. There is one last thing that I don't have here, and that is some more guitar wire, because part of rewiring the switch I need some extra wire, and I'm also, after I shield the inside of the guitar, I'm going to run a wire from the cavity that has the plug socket into the main cavity to link the two areas together. This is something I did on my other guitar, but anyway, last and not least, a nice beverage, because this is a long job but not actually a very hard job if you like doing stuff like this. Obviously if you can't do stuff like this or you're not comfortable, you should really take the guitar to your local luthier. However, I've done this a few times now and I'm confident with making mistakes and fixing them. So anyway, let's crack on, as they say. So first things first, to make this whole process a lot easier, we don't need the strings, so they're coming straight off in the bin, rubbish strings. And then we're going to take the neck off, because you don't have to. If you're not going to do any optional extras, you're just going to change the nut, you could just leave the neck on and you could work on the nut area. However, I want to work on the body, the electronics. I want to change the locking tuners so it's easier for me just to take the neck off. Okay, this is a brand new guitar, so the neck should come cleanly off. I shouldn't see any problems with that. So anyway, first thing we need to do, detune the strings, and then chop the strings off, and then we get our electric screwdriver and we take off the screws out the back. So first job is detune. So, goodbye strings. I've not seen in here since I've bought it. Oh, the finish is just like my Fender. Don't know if that's a compliment or not. We're actually going to keep the... yeah, that's weird. Oh well. We're going to keep the tremolo block. It's a nice big block. We're not going to change the claw or the springs, so I'm going to try and set it up. This is set up so the block is flush against the body and it hardly moves. Oh yeah, wow. That's really stiff. So we'll alter this later in the setup. Right, let's get the neck off. So for the neck, we need to take off these 4 bolts. And then this should just, oh, that's a nice fit. There we go. Oh look, there's a little J, look, for Jet. That's a nice little touch. It's a lovely neck though, I'll give them that. They did a really good job with the neck. Right, so that's off. The body's off. So, what's the next thing we should take apart? So, short little disclaimer before we continue. Obviously, I'm comfortable doing things to my guitar, but if you're not comfortable, you should definitely take your guitar to a luthier. I've done this on a few of my guitars, and also my approach is a do it and find out. As with all projects, not everything goes smoothly. So, being these guitars are made where they are made, some things don't quite fit when you want to change it, or you may have to change your mind, as we're going to find out. So the good news is we've got to this point so far. So next I'm going to show you all the events leading up to this point. But just bear in mind, everything I do is probably not 100% correct. So if you're in a nervous disposition where you don't like people holding screwdrivers, or using power tools, or doing things without measuring, maybe this isn't the video for you. But if you're not squirmishing that way, then hey, carry on. So here we go. Here's converting a right-handed Strat to left-handed. So welcome to the neck portion of this job. So to start with, for the nut, I put some masking tape either side, just so we don't damage any part of the fretboard while we get off the nut. So it's as simple as take off some masking tape and apply it to the fretboard. That should be enough. We're only going to deal with the first fret. It's in case you miss with a knife or anything and you hit the rest. Okay. A job that I've started, which I'm not going to show you all of it because it's a pretty easy job to do, is we're going to change the tuners to locking tuners. Now here's a test fit. This one is a locking tuner and there's the regular tuners. So all we have to do is unscrew the back screw and take out the, I think it's called a furl at the front. Okay, so for the furl, all you need is, it's easy to do this while the neck's off, 10mm spanner, and all you do is undo the furl and keep the washer. Now what I found with the test fit, because these guitars are made in China and some of the other parts are made in another part of China, the machining and the tools don't quite go together when they measure it. And also I'm also using parts from a Fender, okay? So things don't quite match. So with the ones that came with the machine heads, they don't quite fit well in the holes on the headstock. So I'm just going to use the Jet ones. So here's a furl from Jet, and I'm just going to use that with the new tuners, okay? And then once you've got the furl out, it's as simple as we can use one of these. Take the screw out, and we've lifted it out. There we go. That's the old tuning peg. That goes in the pile over there. All the back of the, I mean, this is a new guitar, but it's literally been tightened down, looks like by a machine or something. You can see where it's cracked the finish. especially the new one. Anyway, doesn't matter as long as it works. So I've got this one on. Now to put on the new one, we get, these are numbered, so I've already put the wrong one on. I think I've put number 2 on the front. Oh, there's 2, there's 1. Oh, 2, R2 and R1. Alright then, they're not really numbered. So we put that in there. And the easiest thing to do it should be tight enough that the tuners can't move. Yeah? So you should end up with a nice straight set. So now we come to the swearing part of the job. So we have to get this nut out. So one way you can do it, or to start with at least, is to get a Stanley knife and run it up and down the sides of the nut. And this is so if there's any glue on the corners or the inside, we can cut that out and make it a bit weaker. And then once you've done that a few times, you can get some pliers and then you start pulling. Or the other method is to get a hammer. Oh, well. So that is the easiest I've ever had, apart from a nut falling out. Oh good, they only glued the sides. Yeah, 'cause sometimes they put a glue on the sides and not on the bottom. So good, actually, I'm happy. That was easy. Now what you can do, if you want to, if you don't have another nut, is you simply turn it round and stick it back in. Yeah? And then that's it. However, the shape of these nuts aren't symmetrical. I don't know if you can see. You probably can't. But the nuts aren't symmetrical, so you end up with a straight cut side and like a chamfered side, okay? That would mean the chamfered side will be on the, when you touch down on the fretboard, that's where the string will go. So instead, what you can do is you replace it with a left-handed nut, and I'm going to use a tusk nut. Okay, I'm back. So what I've discovered, because I just had a look at this, that this is the wrong nut. So this is the Tusk 500000. What I need is the Tusk 5000L0. So I thought I bought the left-handed nut, and they've sent me a right-handed nut. So effectively it's the same as taking the right-handed nut and spinning it over. So what I might do is just leave that out, take the old nut, which we know works, flip it over, put it in, line it up, put a little bit, tiny bit of glue on, just on the end, the sides, and then use the bone nut instead, and then call that one a day, and then order a new Tusk left-handed nut, and then change this at a later date. But doesn't matter for this video. As it stands, all you need to do is take the nut, flip it over, mark up the E-strings, put it back in and glue it on. So for this video, that'll do. So we take some glue. I'm just going to put it on the sides, just a little dab either side. It's so I can break it off easier. I don't want a lot of glue. Just so I can run a blade down it later. Put that in there. Line them up. There we go. Wait for that to set. Should be fairly quick. 1, 1000, 2, 1000, 3, 1000. Oh, moved it. The tension of the strings will hold it in anyway. There we go. It's on. Oh, actually, it's handy to put all your screws in a nice little place. I'll get little containers after this. Oh, there it is. I'm not going to break anything, I'm going to be delicate. So, first of all, there's the cheap Chinese selector switch, which is going to be gone. It's already got some shielding. Oh, okay, that saved me a job. I'm impressed with that, actually. That's a good idea. We've got these are the ceramic pickups. They're going to come off. We're going to keep the covers though. Put on the new. Oh, I like this. That's some tidy wiring. So I'm going to mess it up. We have the famous little Chinese pots, look. But if you look at my previous video, they actually work pretty well. So I'm impressed with those. The selector switch though, new. And it looks like they've wired it as least as they could. So, oh. We may need to do some extra work replacing some wires if they're not long enough. Well, these will be gone. They're for the pickups. These three. But the rest of them have to go on the selector switch, and if they're not long enough, I'll have to replace some of the wires. That's why you need to have extra wiring. But that's my optional extra. That'll probably have me scratching my head. Right, anyway, that's fine. Now to get this off the body, you actually have to unsolder the wires to the socket. So we'll take the socket off and we'll unsolder those. And the earth wire. Yeah. I'll unsolder that from the claw at the back. That'll be the easiest. So, all I need to do is hold this scratch plate in place a little bit, just while we do that. So I'm just going to put 2 screws back in, just so it doesn't move. So, 1 in each corner will do for now. Alright. I could have done this before, but I just thought I'd show you, while the scratch plate is off, what we're dealing with and why we're undoing wires, okay? I'll put one there. It's easier to show you than just to tell you. Right. So, that means we need to get the soldering iron warmed up, and then we'll remove the jack socket. Okay? So we'll be back in a minute. So they've got the soldering iron warming up. Also, I've got a little box to keep all the screws in that I've taken off. A big piece of hair, ignore that. So it's good to be organised when you're doing big jobs like this. You don't lose anything in the guitarist carpet of camouflage. Okay? Right, so while we're waiting for that to warm up, let's take off the screws for the jack socket. Take out the jack socket. Right, so we have, you need to know which way these go around, okay? Yellow and black. So the tip portion of the jack socket is black. There we go, that's the first one. And the good thing is these will all be tinned, won't they? When we put it back on. Heat that up and pull it. There we go, off. We have to heat up the earth wire here. So the same procedure. And then we can feed it through the cavities and pull the scratch plate off. There we go. Completely disassembled scratch plate. Right, let's move on to removing the pickups. So another optional extra. So all we first have to do is unsolder the wires to the switch, and then we're going to remove the pickups, and then we'll deal with the other wires when we fit the switch. Okay, right, let's get our soldering iron. Once again, this should be as simple as heat it up and pull it off. So I'm just putting the soldering iron gently across the top to heat up the solder, and then pull on the off straight away. Look, no messing about. They're off. That's off, and then we just need to deal with the pot. So we hold it on the pot till it gets hot enough. There we are, straight off. There's a nice blob of solder on the side when we fit the next pickups. So, do that. So they are off. There we go. And then to take the pickups off, we just unscrew them and make sure we don't lose these springs. I've got a wiring diagram, so I don't really need to label these up, but there's only 3 wires left. The volume control, and then the 2 from the tone controls. Looks like the other, yes, okay. Oh, that was lucky. Knocked the soldering iron off. That's how you cause a fire. Right, so we're just going to heat up, pull the wires off, get the selector switch out, and that is the pickguard off. And then that's the old switch off. There we go. They're not good at all. I recommend, if you're gonna buy a cheap Strat, change this. They're just, no. I've got one on my Japanese white Strat that I need to change as well. I've got another switch for that. Right. That's for another time. So that's going in the backplate pile, which we're not going to keep. Same with the pickups. Oh, then we're going to keep the pickups. So that is one stripped scratch plate, which we are then going to put new pickups, a new switch, some wiring, and it's already shielded, so I don't need to do that. Unless I add some more. No, that'll be good. That'll be good. That's done. Oh, has this got plastic on it? Oh, it does. Oh, I didn't even realise. Oh, yes. Right, well, I enjoy peeling this off. We'll move on to the neck. Oh, we may even start with the neck. I've just found a quick little hack I need to share with you. So, we all know getting these off can be tricky and horrible, and people get spoons and knives. I've found if you get your jack socket and you've taken it off, you can get that underneath. So without damaging the scratch plate, and you just pry it off. There we go. So there we are, top tip number, probably the only top tip you're going to get. Use the back of the jack socket. So another tip because I'm going to be playing this left-handed, I'm actually going to have the scratch plate facing me upside down. So while you've got the knobs off for the volume and the tone, on a right-handed version, number 10, when you're flat out on the control, would be facing you upwards. Because I'm upside down, I'm going to be looking at it this way. So if you're into reading numbers on your volume control, I'm kind of not, I just do it by ear. But if you're interested, you can reverse it and put 10 here. So then you put that back on, and then when you're volume off, you're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can see it now when you play upside down. So that's another little thing you can do to make your left-handed experience a little bit nicer. So here's a little discovery. On the right are the Fender vintage style coils, single coils. On the left are the ones out the JS300, the ceramic ones. Now, when you put them side by side, I don't know if you can see, I don't want to break any wiring, but essentially the JS300s are slightly taller. Okay, so this means when I take the aged cover from the JS300 and I put it onto the Fender pickups, they don't sit quite right. Can you see this pole piece is the worst one? I think it's down. So what I'm going to have to do for now, until I get some different ones, because I've got the original ones on my other guitar, is I'm going to have to put on the old Seymour Duncan ones covers, because they fit a lot better. But these aren't Seymour Duncan pickups, so I'm going to be that guy that has Seymour Duncan pickup covers, but isn't actually running Seymour Duncan pickups. So, unless I scratch that off, which I don't really want to do, unless I get a pen and I write maybe on the side, ish, yeah, let's write ish. I'll get a marker and I'll write ish, Seymour Duncan ish, right. So that's the first kind of, not hiccup, but something you got to deal with when you do extras like swapping pickups. I didn't even think about the covers not being the right size. Anyway, let's move on. So another discovery. So hang on, let's start from the beginning. So on the scratch plate, you use, these are the screws that came with the pickups. They fit the pickups, but they don't fit the Fender pickups. If I just grab the Fender pickups, so here, look, the screws that go into the scratch plate are too small for the Fender pickup, so they just come straight out. So I have some more screws which fit, which came on the Fender guitar. So they'll screw in, and then you can then adjust the height of your pickups. The issue is, this doesn't fit in the scratch plate. It fits through, so it's a 3-ply scratch plate. The white section of the ply, it fits through, but it's the black bit. It's slightly, I don't know if you can see there, the hole slightly isn't big enough. So I've already done a tester on this side of drilling through, and now it goes in. Look. Doesn't go in. So that means I've got to drill them out. So I'll show you one and then I'll get on with the rest. So you just through the top. There we go. Didn't think I'd have to do that. So there's always little things that pop up as you're doing these jobs to make them a little bit quicker. Now we're in. And there we go. But now it's really thin. That may crack at some point, I don't know. Maybe a new scratch plate. Right, let's do the rest. Let's get these pickups on. There's always some kind of little modification you've got to do. So you ready for the big reveal of the front of the pickups? Well, as you can see here, because I had trouble with the holes, I thought it was best just to put the new selector switch in. And yeah, the holes fit, it's in nice and snug. Nothing's wired up yet, I'll do that later. And the wires seem to be long enough to reach all of the part. Well, actually, maybe not that one. Where does that one go? So that one's supposed to go on the second. Ooh, maybe not. I think we're going to be changing. This wiring's a little different. Anyway. That one needs to go on the second lug, and that's nowhere near long enough. So we're going to be changing this wire, at least. This one from this tone control is supposed to go on the front one, which it reaches, so that's good. So we're going to change this wire. So that needs to change. And there for the output jacks. And for the cavities. Get those out of the way. That will go in there, so that's good, that reaches, and all the pickup wires reach more than enough, so that's good. So I just need to change, oh, and then this one, the volume, and the volume control goes there, so that's a good length, that will go in. And then I'm going to make jumpers for these anyway. I need to do a wire from there to there. So yeah, it's this one. This one will need to change. That one is nowhere near long enough, and it looks like it's going to break. So, all fun and games. I'll wire that later. Anyway, big reveal. So, should we turn it over and we'll have a look? So this is what I went with in the end. Dum da da dum. Seymour Duncan? Exactly. The pickup heights are roughly where I have them. So the thicker strings will be this side. So I've raised up, the thinner strings will be this side. So I've raised these up more. And then they're lower on this side. The bridge pickup is the highest out of the pickups. Then they get progressively lower as they come to the scratch plate. This side is near enough flush with the scratch plate. I had to go with the white pickup. So because of that as well, turns out that the selector switch, the tip, the aged tip I was going to use, doesn't fit. So I've had to use the white tip anyway. So I'm either going to get an aged tip and an aged pickup covers, or I might change these to white ones. Because I don't know about the look. I'm not sure. Aged with white. It'll do for now. I need to get the guitar working. I can always change these later. Anyway, like I said, this is optional for me. This is what I wanted to do. The only thing you have to do to make this left-handed is the pickup heights. You can keep all the electrics you want. And then I moved the tone around so it actually says on full, and the volume, full, full. That'll be this way, full, full, full. The 10s now point this way so you can see it. Okay, so there's a finished scratch plate. Just needs wiring up and adding back on the guitar. So here we come to the nighttime portion of the project. So here is the pickguard. It's set up for soldering. I have a wiring diagram there that I'm going to follow. There's going to be one little adjustment, and that is we're going to need a pencil. And what we're going to do is we need to solder all the pickups on here, here and here. So that's what these white ones are. So I've already got these in position ready. They just need some solder. 1, 2, and that one will go in there. The new bits of wire I've got, this white one, is to replace this white one. So that will go from this tone control up until the second lug, no, the first one, Where does it go? No, it goes into the second one there, right? And then this red one will go into the first one. Just like the wiring diagram, I've made a jumper cable to go from that side to the other side, so that'll go in there. And then we have our magical jumper. This is what's going to give us tone control on the bridge pickup. So I've done this on my other guitar. So the little correction that's going to happen is we're going to follow this tone control, so that goes to here, and we're going to jump that to our spare one there. And that is how you achieve tone on the bridge pickup. Right, so this isn't a soldering diagram video, but I'm just showing you the other optional extra I'm going to do, putting these new pickups in. I've also put some tape to make this nice and tidy, so it fits into the cavity better. These are when we install it to the body, so we don't need these. So yeah, I'll probably run this as a fast clip. You can see me do the work, and then hopefully we'll have this fitted to the body. So I guess the next job we can do while we're on the body is the strap button. So I've changed my mind. Instead of gold, we're going to go with silver strap button. So all we need to do is get some masking tape, put some masking tape on the corner, make sure it's at a slight angle to match the other one, and we're going to drill a pilot hole, and then we're just going to go screw straight in. Okay, so let it that bit out. So here's the guitar. This is the horn that we have to drill into. So we get some masking tape and we put it into the center, roughly, of the horn. Oh, there's a little scuff mark there. Didn't notice that before. Anyway, this guitar's a bit rough. And then all we have to do, I move this up. If you're not comfortable doing this, like I said, go to a luthier. But we get the drill, we put it in at an angle in the middle, about there. We go slowly in. Make a little pilot hole. And then it should be as easy as getting the screw from the new locking tuner and screwing it in. So let's do that. Let's move this drill out of the way. Always unplug your battery from your drill. So we get a new screw. Comes in two parts. So you pull this and it comes off. Watch this, look, this is how it works on your strap. You pull this upwards and then it comes off. Yeah? Here's the new one. So we should be able to hit a screwdriver and screw it all the way in. Did I bring a screwdriver? No, I brought an electric one. Doesn't sound very good. And you should actually do this by hand so you don't break the guitar. Here it is. The horror, the comment section. Right, here's a screwdriver. And you just screw it in by hand. So be careful not to crack any wood. It's a long screw, so it might take a while. Yes, right, anyway. And you just do that for both of them. You take the old one out for this one. That should be easy enough. And you just replace it. If you don't have locking strap locks, you just use the old ones and you move them over. Right, there was no felt on that one, it was just a washer. Right. Okay, when we're back, they should be on. Another thing to mention with these new strap locks is the screw is considerably bigger and thicker than the old one. So that's a little bit more peace of mind that this strap is not coming off once you play, which is always the fear, isn't it? So, anyway, the other one's on. I'm going to put this one on and then we'll have a look. Yep, so we're on. Right, focus. We're on. We've got one at the front. So, put that on there. That ain't going anywhere. That's on. And then we also have on the back. Like I said, they're thicker screws. These lock onto the strap. This ain't going anywhere. Lovely. So, there we go. So now at least you can hold it left-handed, which is good. So I think the next bit is once the guitar's back together, then all you have to do is intonate with this and set up the tremolo how you want it. I'm actually going to change these to Fender saddles, I think. So I'm going to see if they fit. I'm not going to show you. This isn't part, you shouldn't really need to go over this. I'm going to keep the tremolo because the tremolo arm is a push-in, not a screw-in. So, but I'm going to upgrade the saddles because I wasn't quite happy when I first opened it, playing it, how the strings could move on the saddles. So maybe the Fender ones will be better, I don't know. That's if they fit. Like everything on this guitar, things need a bit of persuasion before they fit. So anyway, when you next see this guitar put back together, it'll have different saddles, okay? Okay, so as you can see, putting vintage style saddles on the bridge doesn't really work, so I'm gonna have to go back to the Jet ones. The vintage ones, the Fender ones, are ever so slightly wider, but it makes, on one of them it doesn't really make a difference, but when you add all 6 on, they all bunch up together and you end up with the holes don't line up on the E strings, as you can see. So the hole is nearly in the middle of the saddle, on the corners of the saddle and here. So they're gonna have to come back off. So we'll just stick with the Jet ones. Or I get some modern ones. Modern ones are slightly smaller, so thought this wouldn't work. Anyway, another thing to make you aware of if you're gonna do some modifications to this guitar, you need to check the sizes. I didn't check, I just had these lying around. Just thought I'd put them on and try them. It's no big deal to me, I can just put the old ones back on. Anyway, onwards and upwards. So all we're going to do for this bit is we're just going to sand down inside the cavity a little bit. I don't know if you can see, it's a little bit rough. Oh, the sun's setting now, that's how long it's taking. It's a little bit rough in the cavity, so to help the insulation tape, the copper tape, stay in place, I'm just going to So as you can see, I've put the copper shielding in very crudely. It was a quick job. Now, this part of the body is separate to this part of the body. So what you can do is, and here's a little trick, you get some wire, you put it through the hole, so it goes from one side to the other, and then just about there will do. And then you get some of your copper tape and you tape it into place, either side. And that means it's not going to really shield the guitar that well, this stuff, but every little helps. Yeah, peace of mind. It's worth a shot. You tape that to there, then it links the two cavities together. So, yeah, that's about it for this bit. So here it is. So what I do is I tape it to the corners, run it as tight as I can to the body, tape there, and then that means when you put on the jack socket and the rest of the pickguard, none of the other wires or that will get in the way, and the hole's big enough to put your cables through for the jack socket. So there's another tip. Hello, so this is future me talking. If you just see me put tape inside the cavities of the guitar, just to let you know, with this particular guitar, inside the volume control and all the wires are really close to the body. So if you put shielding tape around this section of the body and you push on the pickguard, you can actually almost make contact. And what happens is it shorts out the guitar. So this is future me telling past me to take off the copper tape that you've just put in the body there. Or around this area. Yeah, it can cause it to short, and it'll have you scratching your head for 2 days wondering why electrically the guitar is wired up but it won't make any sounds. So just a little tip for you there. Yes, anyway, back on with the video. It's starting to look like a guitar again. I mean, we've got the neck on now, and we've got the nut is glued in, ready for the string up left-handed. We've got the locking tuners are on. We've got our locking straps for the locking pegs for the straps. Strap locks, that's the word. I've done a crude copper tape on the inside. We've got a little wire going through to each cavity. I've got the jet saddles back on, but the whole guitar needs to be set up fully anyway once the strings go on. So here's the lovely strap locks and the nice strap to go with it. As you can see, if I don't bang the headstock, yeah, it's not going anywhere. So a very good, worthwhile addition just to get yourself some strap locks. So the next bit is to put the scratch plate back on, and then strings on, and then a full setup. So this is the finished product of turning a right-handed Strat left-handed. You have the strings going the other way, so the low E strings now at the top of the guitar, high E strings at the bottom. So when you make chord shapes, it's just a mirror image. So there would be a D chord, and a right-handed version will just be the mirror image. You don't have to play the chords upside down, okay? Same when you're playing your pentatonic runs, yeah? It's just the mirror image. And then we got your tremolo. The only thing is the bar goes at the top of the guitar now when you're playing, but I'm used to this now. I actually kind of like it, so you can still do picking and and then the pickups, we've got nearer the thicker strings, they're a bit lower than near the thin strings. The front pickups also lower than the back pickup, it gradually goes up. So that's the tremolo. One thing you need to be aware of is your arm placement. So you will be touching the jack socket if you're not careful. This will be making noises, and you'll probably have to clean it out or resolder. I've just resoldered it nice and strong. It feels a bit loose, so I might go back in there and just tighten up where it holds onto the socket. And then your volume and tone controls are obviously going to be in the way. These are going to get dirty very quickly with your arm. But apart from that, it plays just like a right-handed Strat. So there's an E chord. You can use the whammy bar. I've been using this for the past hour now, and it seems to be holding tune. Then you can, intonation is the same. You adjust the saddles to do the intonation, so that's all the same. So the chords sound the same, whether you're up the neck or down the neck. There we go, so it's all together. Harmonics are the same. The only other thing is you can't really get up to these frets as easier. The most you're going to get to is probably an A minor. If you want to play a B minor pentatonic, you really got to get your hand over. But again, that's a compromise. Playing Strats upside down. So this lovely little joint they've done here, and this little carve away, it's nothing for left-handed people. If you play them this way up, it doesn't make any. Same as the belly cut, there is no belly cut. The belly cut's now a leg cut, yeah? I find that quite comfortable on the leg. It means you can tilt the guitar back a little bit like this. Right, so that's a close-up of a finished product of a right-handed Strat turned left-handed. Okay, so I guess now we can hear it play. So as you can see, I've spent a few days with the beast, as I'm going to call it now, I think, because it is an absolute beast. I've given it a full setup. We've done the intonation. The string height was pretty good. No dead frets, no fretting out. I could bend the strings okay. The tremolo, I've adjusted that so you literally breathe on it and it moves now. You don't have to pull on it, or push on it I should say. It doesn't really float. Like, I think if I change the system to like a Callahan bridge like on my other guitars, there's a possibility for it to float. So that means you can pull it back as well, but I'm okay for now. I'm going to play it as it is for now. I've loosened the screws off at the back and I've made it so you can push down on it easier. So as you've heard on the sound examples, the pickups, they're really good. To say that these are just standard Fender vintage style pickups that came with the Mexican Strat. I do believe I can go further and I can change these again to something like Seymour Duncans that I have, or some more DiMarzios. But I'm going to play the guitar a little bit more first, as it is, just to get used to it and to warrant whether I should really spend any more money. But anyway, in terms of turning it left-handed, yeah, we changed the nut round, so that was up here. We changed the nut. We've added locking tuners. We've put the strap locks on the opposite horn, so now you can hold it left-handed. I've turned the numbers on the knobs so you can see the number 10s. We've got the pickup heights and angles changed to suit the strings being the other way around, and that's it. It plays. So set up just like a regular guitar. Just because the strings are the other way around doesn't mean you can't set it up or intonate it the same. I have a video on how to set up the guitar, so I'll add a link to that in the description. And apart from that, that's it. Mission accomplished for now. I think my later videos, I'm going to put this head to head against my Made in Mexico Strat, which costs like 4 times the price, just to see, you know, can we get close? Is it worth that? So stay tuned for that. Thank you very much for watching. If you could please comment, like and subscribe, that would help out the channel. So that's it from me. Bye bye. Play on.